Hello everyone. In this video we're going to be taking a look at an article from the Boston Globe that was originally published in Bloomberg, written by Mark Gurman and Nico Grant. Now this was published and updated on January 8th. And look at the title here. Google pulls Parler. Apple may follow after use in Capitol riot. Now this is a fabrication. Parler cannot really be used to organize like they're claiming. Now Facebook, on the other hand, oh yeah, it could be used that way. Facebook groups are how people primarily organize. But they see an opportunity to go after Parler. This is the same type of idea of what they did with Gab. It's complete and total bullshit. It's fake news, but they need to push this narrative because now they're going after the Trump supporters. They're going after the places where they can communicate. They're trying to basically silence them, all right, and make it so that the only thing that'll be pushed online, the only narrative, the only propaganda, the only lies, because that's what the left does, will be on Silicon Valley's platforms. They don't want alternatives out there because they basically want to control the flow of information. This is to prop up the legacy media and the establishment. This is what this is. Because they've realized they've lost control on the note of both of them with the flow of information. Anyway, let's get into the article here. Google removed Parler from its Play Store, and Apple Inc. threatened a similar action after the social media service was among those used to organize the riots this week at the Capitol in Washington. Now, this is what's funny is they're calling the situation a riot and everything else. Was it a riot like we've seen? No. Did they burn shit down? No. Antifa activists got caught and were stopped. And they were proven to be Antifa leftist shitbags because the autists of the internet, with all the ones starting shit, decided to go and start combing footage of, Antifa members from, like, say, different places like Portland, stuff like that. And they pretty much lined up every person to be a leftist shitbag. So, yeah. Basically, what they wanted was their own little Reichstag stage situation with provocateurs, useful idiots starting shit, trying to burn the place down. Now that didn't work. They're trying to sell this whole thing as a riot. But to me, we didn't see a riot. They didn't go and destroy the whole city or anything like that. They didn't go and destroy the Capitol building, except for those provocateurs. So how can you frame this as a riot? Were they disruptive? Yes. You didn't do it, you didn't frame it this way when Amy Schumer and the leftists did the storm to the Capitol. You didn't frame it as a riot. You didn't frame Portland, 100 whatever some odd days at this point of burning shit down. You didn't frame Kenosha. You didn't frame any of those things where buildings are being burned or anything like that as rioting. You framed them as mostly peaceful protests. This is the world we live in, where you have them framing actual riots as mostly peaceful protests and just people being disruptive, not burning stuff down, actually stopping people from burning stuff down. They were on edge, but they weren't doing anything violent really or anything for the most part. They're framing that as a riot. You've got to love the double standards here. And you really can't, like I said, you really can't organize on Parler. I mean, yeah, you can like the idea of like repost and stuff like that, but there's no actual real way to organize like they're talking about. Anyway, let's move on here. We're aware of continued posting in the Parler app that seeks to incite ongoing violence in the U.S., a Google spokesman wrote in a statement. I've looked at a lot of stuff. People aren't talking about or calling for the incitement of violence the way they're talking. It's not happening from what I've seen. I'm going through Parler, and you might have the rare person talking about, how traitors deserve a noose on occasion, but they're a whack job, and it's not like it's a thing that would be real, like, for this situation. It's just some idiot talking shit. And they're not doing a direct call to violence. They're not looking to incite violence either. We recognize that there can be a reasonable debate about content policies and that it can be difficult for apps to immediately remove all violative content. But for us to dispute an app through Google Play, we do require that apps implement robust moderation for egregious content. You know what gets me about this? They do this so that they can control the flow of information. That's what that was about. That wasn't about setting standards or anything like that. You know, you can get porn games on Google Store. You can get things like that. You can get sexual shit through it. And they don't have a problem with that. But free speech, they have a problem with. It makes absolutely no sense. And who are they to decide what a company allows on their platform? How does that not make them a publisher when they're trying to dictate to platforms what they can and cannot publish? I mean, seriously. You're trying to tell someone else what they can have on their site, on their service, on the note of speech. That's some real Orwellian shit, having Google say, well, you have to do this. And what they consider egregious content is fluid like a leftist's gender. So one day one thing's acceptable, the next day they say it isn't. And you have to follow their rules and their standards because they're setting the rules for you. You don't get to choose. Alphabet Inc.'s Google said Parler will be suspended until it addresses this ongoing and urgent public safety threat. The internet giant said it has reminded Parler of these policies for months. Yeah, they've been trying to get them to silence, and the thing is they're not going to. I don't think Dan Bongino, is going to seriously bow down to Google, and he owns a stake in that company. I don't think the CEO is going to bow down. This is the same type of idea that they pulled with Gab, and look at how well it worked for them there. It didn't. In a letter to the developers of Parler, Apple said it will pull the app in 24 hours if it does not get a plan to moderate the service more. So basically, you start censoring or you can kiss us distributing your app goodbye. How is this not, a monopolistic business practice on the note of business alone? That they get to decide what you can have on your app or your platform or your service. No business should have the right to tell another business what they can have on their what they can and cannot do. As long as it's legal, they should not have that ability. I mean, this is ridiculous. Anyway, moving on here. You must respond to this message with detailed information about how you intend to moderate and filter this content from your app and what you will do to improve moderation and content filtering, Apple wrote. BuzzFeed's News earlier reported on the letter. An Apple spokesman declined to comment. Parler Inc. did not respond to a request for comment, and they're not going to. They're just going to do what they're doing. And this idea, of how they have to submit detailed information, it's like they're acting like they're, Parler's boss or their parent. Explain to me how you're going to do this, son. The sheer fucking hubris of these people. These people in Silicon Valley, these elitist shitbricks, think that they can act like this and they have a right to act like this. They don't. And they wonder why people are flocking away from their supposed platforms to, say, like Parler, for example. And they figure, well, we can't control them over here, so we're going to control Parler to control them. That's what this is about. Because people flipped the script and said, screw you, we're out of here. Now, because they've went to someplace else, they want to control that place where they've gone. I mean, that's, again, sheer fucking hubris of these people. These people are delusional. Anyway, moving on. On its App Store page, Parler describes itself as a non-biased, free speech, social media focused on protecting users' rights. See, they don't want to put platform there because if they put platform there, And you look at what these other sites do, they're not platforms. But as a non-biased free speech social media focused on protecting user rights. Yeah. They want free speech and to protect their users' rights and not use them to make money. Oh my God, the sheer evil of that. The pure evil. The services gain popularity with extremists as Facebook Inc. and Twitter have cracked down on users who promote violence. No! Oh my God, that is a complete and total lie. You lying sacks of shit. People who've been censored. People like me who has never incited violence, who's been banned from Twitter. Because a leftist spurg started with me, and I returned in kind, and then they went, teacher, he wasn't saying any word. And I'm going, you're banning me for this. Look what they said. And they said, well, theirs doesn't violate the rules. And I'm like, it's on the same exact level of what I said. I responded in kind. And I got permanently banned because I just wouldn't bend over and take it. And I kept asking them to clarify. Because I did that multiple times. They did not like that. I got permanently banned. I'm not an extremist. Most of the people on Parler, the overwhelming majority, hell, almost all of them, except for maybe a few retarded spurgs, are normal friggin' people. You lying sacks of shit. Parler is ranked 18th among free apps on Apple's App Store over the last 90 days, according to Apptopia data. Yes, and that scares them because they know that people are being siphoned off there and they can't control there. This is what this is about. They're using what happened on the 6th to go after the free speech apps. This is about retribution now. This is about silencing those who supported Trump, about silencing conservatives, about silencing the independent and the libertarians and everyone else who will not bow down to their bullshit. Because they figure, well, if you're not going to bow down, we're going to get rid of every place that you can go to. Okay? Oh, God. What's the line from Serenity? Your enemy goes to ground, leave no ground to go to is basically what was said in the movie by the bad guy. Sent by the Alliance's Parliament. And that's what they're trying to do here. They're trying to stop us from being able to get away from them. It's them or nothing. And either you comply so that you can go out there and talk, and you better say nice things, and you better say that, according to CISA, even though Dominion's part of CISA and they investigated themselves, this was the most securest election of all time, and you better not dare question creepy, sleepy Uncle Joe. This is about getting you to fall in line. Either you're going to be silenced or you spout their bullshit. That's how they want things from this point forward. Google said the Parler app will not be removed from the phones of users who already downloaded it. Yeah, you better not try to take it from my phone. That's my property. You come onto my property and you steal something from me, you better damn well believe I would have a problem. And they know if they did that, that's the mentality that people would have, and they'd probably get sued. Because who are they to have access to your phone like that? Because when a bunch of companies tried to remove 1984, which is out of copyright, all right, and claim that you did not have a right to have it, okay, different bookstores and that. You had a copy of it. It didn't matter. They removed it even though you didn't have it through their bookstore. They got a lot of flack, and people brought legal action against them. They went, oh, shit. And, yeah, this is the same exact type of idea. And they know that. That's why they won't remove it. The suspension also doesn't limit the app's availability on the Android App Store. How does it not limit the availability of it? They removed it. That makes no sense. The internet giant cited content as recently as Friday that included threats to elected officials and plans to organize a militia march. Okay, first off, organizing a militia march would be like the 1%ers, the 3%ers, I mean, the Oath Keepers. So you're saying that police officers and members of the military, ex-members of the military, ex-police that make up the Oath Keepers are going to commit a coup? That makes absolutely no sense. And where are these threats to elected officials? What gets me is if they actually had this stuff and it was credible and it actually backed their bullshit, right off the bat, they would be putting those posts from Parler in the article as an example. When they just tell you this shit and they don't show you anything to back it, they're talking out their ass. Like with what they say here next. Parler was used to plan, coordinate, and facilitate the illegal activities in Washington, D.C. on January 6, 2021 that led, among other things, a loss of life, numerous injuries, and destruction of property, Apple said in its letter to Parler, which is complete and total bullshit. They know it's bullshit. That's why they put it at the end here, because it's Facebook that was used to organize people going down to Washington using Facebook groups. There's nothing like that on Parler. There are groups on, say, Gab. I'm surprised they didn't go after Gab with this one. This is complete propagandistic bullshit. It's fake news. Well, what they did isn't fake news, but how they're trying to portray it is fake news. This is ridiculous. This is only the beginning. Wake up, people. We're in for a bumpy freaking ride for at least the next 2 years if we can hopefully, with the not have any, abnormalities show up with the midterm elections, or in 4 years with the presidential election, with like counties like Fulton in Georgia and, in Michigan and Pennsylvania and Wisconsin, even other states, because you don't think that they're going to expand this? You don't think that they're going to expand what happened? Of course they are. And what gets me is New Hampshire's been one of these states, but no one ever looks into it. I live here. The Secretary of State is a Democrat lackey. He was Clinton's bitch, both Bill and Hillary. He was letting a convicted felon change out the memory cards in the middle of elections. And they've tried to scrub that from the internet, too. Wake the hell up, people. This is just the beginning. Anyway, I've covered this well enough. I'm leaving things here. If you liked this video, depending on where you are watching it, please give it an upvote or thumbs up. If you want to know when new content of mine hits the internet, don't forget to subscribe to one or more of my social media or video accounts listed here. Also, with YouTube, don't forget to ring that bell. You can find all of my video content on both BitChute and YouTube. This may not be the case with other places I upload to, but I will try to minimize this happening. You are always welcome to interact with me at any of these sites on the list, so feel free to do so. If you have anything you want me to cover in a video, when it comes to news or current events, send it right along to me. I will try to do my best to cover it. As always, thank you for watching.